Let's get into the math behind what your ROI can look like using $19 call verified Medicare supplement leads from Lead Heroes. As you know, it is Medicare Supplement Awareness Month. From October 1st to October 31st, we are saving the Supps this month. More than ever, Medicare supplements have been going away, losing market share to Medicare Advantage year over year. And we are trying to reverse that trend this year by offering a discounted Medicare supplement lead to help agents sell more Med Supp than they ever have before. And I want to get into the math today behind what this can look like to help you have a huge ROI using these $19 exclusive call verified Medicare supplement leads. So let's get into it. On the left here, this far left column, I have the closing percentage. So I'm mapping out 4 different closing percentages because obviously your mileage will vary. In this, there's so many variables for why your closing percentage could be 20% or higher versus 5% or even maybe less. If you are new to the industry and you're trying to sell over the phone, maybe you're only contracted with 1 or 2 carriers, you haven't figured out underwriting yet. Maybe the carriers you're using aren't the most competitively priced from a premium standpoint. You might be looking at this 5% closing rate. If you're selling in person, you're in a state that has lenient underwriting, or maybe you're able to take advantage of birthday rule or anniversary rule, and you have a competitively priced carrier where the premiums are actually really good, you could be seeing a 20% or higher closing percentage, and everywhere in between. So I'd love to tell everyone, hey, you're going to close exactly this number, but that's not how this works, right? There's going to be a mixed variable to what your closing percentage looks like. And honestly, what's not on this table that is ultimately one of the number one differences between whether you're going to close 5% or 20% or higher is your contact rate. How many leads were you able to get on the phone and either go through your sales pitch or get on the phone and set an appointment to get in front of them in person, right? Or maybe you're going out and you're door knocking these leads, which again, it's Medicare Supplement. You're totally allowed to do that. If you are only seeing a contact rate of 30%, 40% of these leads, you're probably going to have a much lower closing percentage than someone who can get in front of 50, 60, 70% of these leads. The more leads you're able to speak to, the more applications you're going to write, the more commission you're going to make. It's really that simple at the end of the day. So getting into it, at $19 per lead, the example here is, let's say you order 100 of these leads. That's $1,900 in marketing spend. That's what you'd have to pay Lead Heroes to get 100 Medicare supplement leads. At a 5% close rate, that's 1 out of every 20 leads, which, mind you, even the most conservative, some of the agents that I've seen, again, being brand new, they're just now trying to figure out, how does this work? How do I sell Med Supp? They're closing 1 out of 20. So in my opinion, this is the bare minimum expectation for anyone out there working with Lead Heroes Medicare Supplement leads. You are closing at least 1 out of 20 leads. So on a $1,900 marketing spend, your cost per acquisition at 5% would be $380. So you gain 5 new clients on 100 leads. Now, this revenue is based on a lifetime client value that is a very conservative number. This is a variable that, again, will fluctuate depending on how you want to categorize lifetime client value. Some people really just see it as $1,000 per Medicare client. But if you take into the fact that you could cross-sell them, you're getting referrals from them, they could become a lifetime client. You might not just get commissions over 5 or 6 years. You could easily keep someone on the books for 10 or 15, 20 years. At ESI, we've seen that type of retention. We've had clients on the books for well over 10 years where the lifetime client value is honestly closer to $3,000 per client. So this is estimating a very conservative $1,000 for a lifetime client value for every Med Supp client that was just gained. So what does the profit look like? Obviously this doesn't mean you're getting a $5,000 check. You get your first year commission and then you'll get those renewals every month. But the profit, when you take the cost per acquisition, you subtract it from the lifetime client value, you're seeing a $3,100 profit. That's almost a 2x ROI on your money. Not quite 2x, 6. That is huge. When it comes to the sort of numbers we're talking about, the idea that you could get 20 leads, only close one of them, and you're immediately in the green, right? Now, the minimum purchase for this promo is 30 leads. Just keep that in mind. You have to buy at least 30. I love the sample size of 100. That's part of the reason why I mapped these numbers out using the 100 leads, which is, again, that would be a $1,900 spend. You can break this up however you want. If you're an independent agent, you're watching this and you're thinking, I don't want 100 leads right this second, but maybe I could do 10 or 20 a week. We can absolutely do that. We can give them to you at that pace of 10, 15, 20 a week, whatever number you wanted. If you want 100 as quickly as possible, we can also do that. We can generate 100 as fast as possible and get those delivered to you. Now, let's look at a higher closing percentage. Let's say you're closing 1 out of 10. Again, this isn't a crazy number to get to the 1 out of 10. The biggest reason why you could be at a 10% over, say, 5%, it's all about contact percentage. 10% or higher, you have a CRM system. You're following up with every lead. You're trying to contact every lead 5 to 10 times. These are the types of practices I would expect from someone who's seeing a 10% or higher closing percentage, right? Maybe you're using some automated follow-ups. Maybe you have a virtual assistant. Shout out Hire Heroes, right? Maybe you have a virtual assistant who's helping you qualifying the leads, setting appointments for you. Maybe they're transferring calls to you once they get a lead back on the phone, whatever it is. You are staying in front of these leads. At 10% closing percentage of the overall leads, you really would probably need to be seeing a contact rate of around at least 60%. So 6 out of 10 you're speaking with to get you to that 10%. And that would be selling over the phone. Again, selling face-to-face, all of these numbers go way up, right? If you're trying to get in front of these folks face-to-face, you're going to have a much higher closing percentage. A lot of the agents we work with now, they're selling over the phone because they can, and it's not difficult to do, right? So 10%, again, same $1,900 marketing spend, right? 100 leads, $19 per lead. You spent $1,900 at Lead Heroes. You gained 10 new clients, which means your CPA was 190. And I can tell you, again, from being in this space as long as I have, getting your CPA below 200, that's magic, right? If you went to anyone who's a player in the Medicare space, especially selling Med Supp, and you told them, hey, I've got a system in place, I have a CPA that's below 200, they would say, you need to take every dollar you have and jam it through that system, because that CPA, when you're looking at a $1,000 or higher lifetime client value, you are printing money. It is a money tree. I'm telling you, that's magic when you can get that CPA below 200. Again, $1,000 client cost, or sorry, lifetime client value, $1,000 lifetime client value. So 10 new clients, that's a $10,000 revenue gain, 8,100 in profit, 4.2x ROI. So for every dollar you gave Lead Heroes printed you $4.2. What a massive ROI that is on a 10% closing percentage. I've had many clients, many agents, agency owners reach out and tell me that they are doing well above 10%. I am giving you guys some really conservative numbers because I want you to feel good about these expectations. Like, I want you to be able to map this out and say, okay, if I give Lead Heroes $1,900, my chance at getting a 2, 3, 4x ROI is really high. And that's the reality. That's what these numbers here are showing you. The only thing that you need to really figure out on your end is how can you get that contact rate as high as possible? How can you get 100 leads and have conversations with 50, 60, 70 of them? That comes from the follow-up. That comes from using a CRM. That comes from having an assistant. That comes from using automations, sending emails, like whatever you can do to get in front of these people. And when that magic happens, when that contact rate hits 50, 60, 70%, the closing percentage follows it. It's a the pattern is linear. It follows perfectly, right? The higher that contact rate goes, the higher the closing percentage goes. And that's what ultimately you see as we continue on here, 15%. So now you're closing roughly, 1 out of 7. 1 out of 7.5, I think, is the exact number here, which again, that's not crazy. That's not super difficult to do. If you're selling in person, you're probably getting the 15% or higher pretty easily. $19 per lead, 100 leads, 1,900 lead spend. Your CPA is getting close to 100 now. At the 20% closing percentage, you can see you're sub 100. Again, this is insane, right? You're at a $95 CPA, lifetime client value, 20,000 on 20 new clients, 18,000. You can see how the numbers work, right? I don't think I have to go box by box here to kind of wrap up this video. But at a 20% closing percentage, 1 out of 5 leads that you get, if you can convert, you're looking at a 9.5x ROI. That means every dollar you spend at Lead Heroes, you got 9.5 back. Insane. Huge opportunity. Take advantage of this offer while it's still here. Again, this is $19 call verified Medicare Supplement leads from Lead Heroes. It ends midnight on Halloween. That's midnight, October 31st. At the end of this month, these will double in price. They go back to $40 per lead. So you can save over $630 in savings on these Medicare Supplement leads if you buy before the end of this month. So click the link below this video, grab your $19 call verified Medicare Supplement leads from Lead Heroes. Help us save the Supps this month. And I hope you have a wonderful AEP. Again, Glen Shelton, founder and CEO of Lead Heroes. Until next time, you guys, happy selling.